Okay, so for today's lesson, we are going to cover addition and subtraction of algebraic fractions. This is lesson 3, and the notes can be found from page 1 to 3. Okay, for addition or subtraction of algebraic fractions, we can make use of this 5-step strategy. So this strategy is actually found on page 1 of your notes. Okay, so you need to follow these 5 steps in order to express a fraction in its simplest form. So let's take a look at some examples. So the first example I'll be looking at will be example 1b on page 1. Okay, so we need to express this in its simplest form. So in order for us to combine two fractions into one, okay, firstly, you need to make sure that the denominator is factorized. So in this case, your denominator is 3 and 5a. They are factorized. So you don't need to do anything on this part. Okay, so this is actually done. Now, then we need to find the LCM of the denominator. So in this case, my LCM of 3 and 5a will be 15a. So this is something that you need to be able to do, identify the LCM. So because the denominator is because the denominator is 15a, the LCM is 15a. So basically, I can now combine the fractions into a single fraction now by multiplying 5a to this fraction and multiply 3 to this fraction so that my denominator will be 15a. So in my strategy step 3, what kind of working I'm needed I have to show is to show them 2x multiplied by 5a minus away 3 times x plus 7. Okay, now this is step number 3. And for step number 4, what I will do is I will now simplify. So I get 10ax minus 3x minus 21. Now do take note that this is negative 21. Okay, this is a negative. Okay, because when you expand it in, you actually get a negative 21. Okay, then your denominator will be 15a. Now once you have this, then you ask yourself, is there anything that you can simplify? If there's nothing for you to simplify, and this is your answer in its simplest form, and you will leave it in this manner. Okay, so basically the crucial thing is to know what is your LCM of the denominators and then being able to combine them into a single fraction. And in this case, this is the step, right? And you simplify the numerator. Okay, so let's take a look at another example. The next example will be example 2b. 2b is found on page 2. So again, we will follow the 5-step strategy. Step number 1 is to ensure, this is example 2b, okay? Ensure denominator is factorized. So in this case, if you look at the denominator, my denominators are x plus 1 and 2x minus 5. They are factorized, nothing else to do, so it's done. Now, what is the LCM of the denominator? So the LCM of x plus 1 and 2x minus 5 is simply x plus 1 and 2x minus 5. Okay, so because of this, in order for me to combine the fraction into a single fraction, I know that my denominator will be the LCM of these two, and that is x plus 1 and 2x minus 5. Okay, now, then what do I need to do to my numerator? For this first fraction, I know that I need to multiply by 2x minus 5. So I must also multiply 2x minus 5 to the numerator. For the second fraction, I know that I need to multiply x plus 1 to the denominator to get this LCM. So I will also need to multiply x plus 1 to the numerator. So with this, I will now write it out. So I get 2x times 2x minus 5 minus away 3 bracket x plus 1. Okay, so this is step number 3. Now, then step number 4 is to simplify the numerator. I will leave my denominator factorized. So my numerator will be 4x squared minus 10x minus 3x minus 3. Okay, again, take note when you expand, simplify, make sure you get your expansion correct, because negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. So once I get here, I look at my numerator. Can I further simplify? So if I can further simplify this, I have to simplify it. So I got 4x squared minus 13x minus 3 over x plus 1, 2x minus 5. Okay, now then you can also check if your numerator can be further factorized. So in this case, this one cannot be further factorized. Your numerator cannot be further factorized, so you stop here. And this is your simplest form, your final answer. So this is for example 2b. Let's go on. Now for example 3b, okay, so again, follow the 5-step strategy. Now, for your step 1, ensure denominator is factorized. Okay, so in this case, it's already factorized. There's nothing I can do to the denominator. I have a 4 bracket x minus 2y and a 3 bracket x minus 2y. So now the question for this case is, what is the LCM of the denominator? So I actually put it here. So in this case, x minus 2y is actually found in both terms. Okay, but one is a 4 and one is a 3. So for 4 and 3, its LCM will be 12. So in this case, your LCM for this two will be 12 bracket x minus 2y. Okay, so once you have that, write out 12 bracket x minus 2y. Okay, go back to each fraction once again, and then you take a look, how can I get from this denominator to this denominator? You are short of a 3. So you need to multiply 3 to this denominator. Hence, you must multiply this to the numerator. Now, then you check the other one. This is the denominator. I want it to be 12 now. So you need to multiply by 4. So this one you multiply by 4. So in this case, I can basically simplify my numerator into this manner. Okay? So this is combining them into a single fraction. Then from here, you need to simplify your numerator. That would be 9m plus 15 plus 8 over 12 bracket x minus 2y. So with this, simplify it further. Okay? And this will be your final answer. So this step, I am actually simplifying. And the last step is to ensure that your fraction is in its simplest form. So this will be example 3b. Okay, we will take a look at one more example. And that example will be 3d, found on page 2. Okay, so the last one that we will look at will be example 3d, found on page 2. So again, ensure denominator is factorized. So it is factorized, so done, right? Okay, now the denominator in this case is x minus 2 times x minus 4, and the other denominator is x minus 2 times x minus 3. So what is the LCM of the denominator, okay, of these two? So basically they have a common x minus 2, so you can put it in, and we need a x minus 4 as well as a x minus 3. So your LCM will be this. So once you have identified the LCM, now combine them into a single fraction, include the LCM. Okay, so in your first fraction, you must notice that you are missing a x minus 3, right? Compare the denominator with this denominator. So you are missing a x minus 3, so you must multiply x minus 3 to both the numerator and the denominator. Then for the other one, you are missing a x minus 4. So you need to multiply x minus 4 to both the numerator and the denominator. So once you have this, you can now write out your numerator. And this is how you combine the fractions into a single fraction. Of course, your next step, step number 4, is to simplify the numerator. So you will expand now. Always leave your denominator factorized. Okay, take note that in your expansion, this is a plus 8 because minus 2 times minus 4 is a positive 8. So with this, you will now simplify your numerator, and you get 2x minus 4 over this. Right? Now notice that your numerator can be further factorized. So in this case, you will factorize it further. Okay, I cannot write here, so let me just erase it. Okay, notice that this one can be further factorized. So factorize it. And then you notice that it can be simplified because they have a common factor, x minus 2. And with that, your final answer will be 2 bracket x minus 3 and x minus 4. Now, if you notice, all the questions that we have covered have the denominator are always factorized. So it actually makes your simplification easy. So in this case, in your lesson 3, all our denominators have been factorized for you. So you can actually skip your step number 1. Okay, so try and see whether you are able to do this on your own. Complete practice 3 and as well as your assignment 10.3.